This is Adomako Man, and you are tuning in to the Producing Peace podcast, a podcast that celebrates the vibrant tastemakers shaping NYC's cultural landscape. From artists to activists, we spotlight individuals driving positive change and shaping the future of our city. Right now, I'm sitting with half of Eat Good NYC, St. Michelle Cafe, and Food Art. Benny, along with his partner, Carolina, have been recognized for making cupcakes for Cara Delevingne, Gigi Hadid, Vogue Japan, Paris Hilton, Swiss Beats, Aquafina, French Montana, Questlove, Steve Aoki, Pharrell, Mariah Carey, Beyonce, and more. And I'm so glad to be sitting here with you today.
Thank you for being here.
How are you?
Absolutely. I am having a good time. It's a beautiful day today, around great energy. So thank you for being here. And great fun.
It's been such a long time since I've seen you last. Yeah. The way how we originally actually know each other is through a mutual friend, Sophia.
Yes. Sophia. Bless her heart.
I think I'm trying to remember the first time we met. I feel like the first time we might have met was at Fat Buddha.
Oh man, Fat Buddha, absolutely. Yeah, back when I was promoting parties many moons ago.
So I didn't know that. That's what you used to do.
Yeah. I was just doing anything to get on. So I was promoting parties, doing photography, just doing everything, honestly, at that time. It was like 10 years ago. Yeah.
Wow. So what was it like you working as a promoter?
Long nights, no sleep. I mean, I was a little bit younger, so I can, handle it and can drink and then wake up in the morning and go to my 9 to 5. But, can't do that now. But back then, it was great. It shaped me to be the person I am today,
And then you also know Stefan.
Yes.
And so, how was that? How you knew him as well, or?
Well, no. So actually, I met everybody through my job actually, because I used to work at Kinko's on Spring Street, which is a pretty popular Kinko's to go to, especially in the fashion world, because people need to go there all the time to send packages and do projects and stuff like that. So I met Stefan. He was working at a skate shop down the block. He would come in, drop off packages, and during that time, we just sit there, chop it up, and just became good friends.
During those times, that was I used to call it Soho Wonder, Soho vibes.
Absolutely.
I feel like that era is so gone. It's so different. Can you explain? Can you give a little bit of insight of what that time was like?
Yeah, I mean, Soho was a special time, especially at that time. It was 2014. Because we were kind of forming these little subcultures of people, like the skate culture started to kind of become a thing. Rappers like ASAP Rocky and ASAP Mob, you would see them just walking around on Lafayette. You would see Virgil just walking down the block to Heron Preston, just all these characters that everyone knows now. You know what I mean? But back then they were just in Soho doing their thing. You would see Loca, he was working at V-Files, I believe. So it was a very special time of just amazing things that came to kind of change culture for today. So yeah.
And so I also know that you're originally from Queens.
Yes.
What part
born
of
and raised?
Yeah.
Me, so I'm kind of all over the place. So I was born in this place called Corona. That's kind of by City Field. But then from there, my family moved more deeper into Queens, which is a place called Rosedale. It's kind of a Caribbean community out there. Very heavy Caribbean community.
Are you of Caribbean descent?
Yes, I am. My mother's Guyanese.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you ever? I don't see. It's been some time since I've last seen you, but I don't know. I never gathered. Have you ever traveled to Guyana or
When I was a kid. Yeah. Many moons ago. I would love to go back though. My mom, she's been saving a house there for me, so I should probably go check on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I'm gonna definitely go one day.
Yeah.
So, when I'm older.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I mean, also too, one thing that I've learned, there was a point where you were working in fashion before you then transitioned into. Were you in fashion at any point?
I mean, I'm gonna say I was in fashion per se, but
I know Carolina was, but
yes. Well, yeah. I mean, not really so much the fashion world. It was more so I was an intern for this lady named Hadia Barbell. She is a famous hairstylist, and Yeah. Like, I was just doing like intern work for her, like just dropping off hair to FedEx all the time and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I actually met her through FedEx when she came in. So yeah. But like that was like a little stint, honestly. Yeah.
And then, because that was, I mean, because this is not the first time we're sitting together.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a conversation where Sophia, she was asking you
Mm.
about what you and Carolina had in common. And that one
Yeah.
of the thing was like food and fashion.
Yeah.
And then that's
Absolutely.
what reunited you guys. But I wanted to know before that, because I've known you only with Carolina. What was life for you before then?
Before that, I mean, once again, it was just kind of just just working and just doing the party promoting. Honestly, like I was doing Fat Buddha with my friend Poon, who's also a great DJ. I met him through FedEx as well, and and he actually gave me the opportunity to actually just kind of just like follow him around while he's DJing, and that was just kind of my life at that time. Just kind of just party promoting and the nightlife and grabbing my camera and going around taking pictures of people and trying to get their email to put on an email list, all types of crazy hustles to like to become the person I am today. So.
It's so I don't want to sound any sort of way, but I feel like there's like a specific persona that people take on when they're working as a nightlife person.
Yeah.
And I feel like you weren't that.
Nah.
And so it's just so interesting that I didn't even know that part about you.
Yeah.
But would you say that during that time, like how is that time different than now, separate from the fact that it was like a decade ago?
Well, oh, you mean like the party scene?
Just in like the party scene, like the culture of New York City.
Well, so like now it's a little bit more exclusive. I mean, like now it's you can't just walk into places. It's it's really about who you know. If that's like the promoters to the guy in the front, the bouncers. What I mean? But I definitely feel like that happened because of the pandemic. Like they started being really like exclusive on who they were letting into certain places, so it's a little bit more hard. But like back then, it was just it was just kind of just all vibes, like you could sneak into like a crazy party. I mean, I used to do it all the time back then. I'm just like sneak into a party I wasn't supposed to be at and be sitting there, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm next to celebrities now. It's probably a little harder to do that now. You probably gotta like know people. So
yeah, it's
a little different.
It's a different time. Like I feel like after the pandemic, like people got like super on steroids with like social media and like super isolated.
Yeah. I mean, like it became kind of the thing to like not be around like a lot of people. I mean, it was like, okay, whoever's in here is for a reason. So I mean, it is what it is on that part. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's good or bad, but that's just how the world works. Things change.
And then you met Carolina. I mean, we spoke about this before, but I would like to revisit. How did you and Carolina come across one another?
Oh, so that was basically through via Tinder. I mean, what was it, like 2013, I believe? It was just like the luck of the swipe, honestly. Like she says, she saw a picture with me and Pharrell on Tinder. For some reason, I put a picture of me and Pharrell, but it was probably obviously on purpose. And she saw that, and me at the time, I was just probably just swiping away. I was probably just swiping, but at the same time, we matched up, and and it was love at first sight. And we were into all the same things. Like you said, like fashion, art, pop culture, all that stuff, and we came together and never really looked back. So yeah.
And so what would you say is like the foundation of your relationship? Because you guys take on a lot together. You have like 3 different businesses that I'm aware of. Because I know, which we'll talk a little bit later about expansion.
Absolutely.
But what is the foundation of the two of you's relationship?
Probably just trust and understanding. It's like basically, like I would say, is just like knowing, like being a business and being a couple. It's knowing when to kind of separate it. And that's the understanding part. The understanding part's like, yeah, like we're doing these things, but we don't need to, like they don't need to intersect. And it's just and it's just having that respect on that end. And and the trust part is just like, yo, I mean, like, we're here for a reason, we should be able to trust each other, you know what I mean? Because, like, we're business partners and also in a relationship. So,
yeah, I mean,
trust is strong.
Trust is definitely strong and important, and oftentimes people don't really, like, to start a business with anyone is not easy. And
Absolutely.
so with that, you guys have that foundation. What is Benny like separate from, the relationship from the business? Like, how would you describe Benny Emeri? Because that was a conversation before we got here.
I mean, it's the same for the most part. I mean, Carolina, like, understand, especially now that I'm just very hyper focused on my goals. You know what I mean, and doing what I got to do, to preserve our legacy for us and for our family and stuff like that. So, yeah. So I mean, it's just, I mean, like, me right now, I'm just really just hyper focused on just, like, I could be sitting there just on my phone, just, like, looking up potential clients or something like that, you know what I mean? And she's okay with that. But also she's like, all right, it's time to, like not focus on work. And that's for me to respect the relationship and be like, put my phone down or something and be like, okay, it's time to it's time to just be Benny, know. And but it's also that, like, just having good communication just to know when it's time to turn off. So
And then, with your businesses that you guys have done together, you guys have had these type of conversations about how to run your business. And together, what have you guys decided was like we won't do this? Like, what is something where you're like, we can't do this? Like, this is our boundary with our work.
I wouldn't say boundaries per se. It's I mean, like, the reason why we create these things because we like to genuinely do it. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's what keeps it going. It goes because we actually like doing this. Like, we're not doing things that we don't want to do. I mean, I'm not built to do things I don't want to do. I mean, that's the reason why I am an entrepreneur. So I can do what I want. So you know what I mean. So it's just try to keep it fun. I know money always makes things a little difficult, but like, just try to just stick to the script of the things that we like to do. So
yeah. So I mean, and now we're sitting here in your cafe, which it's been. I mean, I'm so excited and happy to be sitting here and to be your guest here in your spot at St. Michel, New York. I wanted to know, what's the backstory about that with the title. Because I first met you guys with Eat Good NYC, then you expanded to Art Eaters, and now we're here at St. Michel NYC.
Before we continue with our conversation, here's a clip from the film Peace.
You what?
Always into the day I die.
A lot of have like a lot of turns and twists, but like, Saint Michel is just my ode to like, my favorite artist, which is Jean-Michel Basquiat. I mean, like Basquiat is basically like the reason why I even went to Manhattan to kind of try to figure out what I wanted to do, because like, in Queens, I mean, there's not a lot of what should I say? There's not a lot of like lanes for like art and fashion and all that stuff, unfortunately. You know what I mean? So I kind of had to try to travel to Manhattan, and I know, like, when people hear that, it's just a borough to a borough, but it's very night and day between Queens and Manhattan, culture wise. So so I traveled to Manhattan. I got a job out here. Started walking around. Started meeting people that were just into the same things that I were like, was into, but like, that's kind of the story of Basquiat. Like, Basquiat was from Brooklyn, and he wanted to be an artist, so he traveled to Soho, and he was like sleeping on people's like couches, and then what I mean, but like, he was still doing his art, and then he became the person who we know today. So like, that was kind of me being like, if Basquiat can do it, I can do it too. So I kind of look at him like my saint. You know what I mean? Like, he's the person that I've kind of like looked at and was like, that's what I want to do.
Wow. So, yeah, I see a lot of remnants of him here. So
absolutely.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
wow. I mean, so do you think that people would be able to still do that now? Like
Yep.
have, because I mean, we talked about this, just like how like COVID changed everything,
Mm-hmm.
and like how like you got into like nightlife and you was working and like in Soho, and then there was like all these people that you would see in Soho. Do you feel like that kind of culture is still like a thing, or is it just more or less like social media based?
Yeah, I mean, like, of course, I mean, it's just evolving. You know what I mean? I mean, like there's a great batch of kids out there that are doing amazing things. It's just now they have social media. Like back when I came to Manhattan in 2012 and 13, it really wasn't like a social media thing. It was just starting to begin. So so you kind of had to like figure it out. You know what I mean? Now you can literally just open TikTok and be like, okay, all the kids are in Times Square. Let me go to Times Square and just go hang out there. You know what I mean? So I mean, yeah, like there's definitely like a great like next generation of kids that are doing some awesome stuff. It's it just evolves. It just evolves and it goes with the times. So I can't knock it.
That's like now. I mean, like there's like, do you think that there would be moments where you would see? I mean, granted, people are just walking around all the time, but like it was a real moment hanging out in Soho,
right?
Like seeing Heron Preston, seeing like
Yeah.
people from ASAP Ferg, ASAP Rocky. Like, do you feel like those moments are still present, or because I feel like people are more like isolated, and it's just
Well, I mean, look, I mean, it's just a different thing. I mean, you know what I mean? Like these kids are gonna be the new Heron Preston, the new ASAP Rockies and Virgils, you know what I mean? Like I mean like I walk around a lot in like downtown and I go and I'm like, oh, that's that person I watch on TikTok. Those are the new stars. You know what I mean? It just kind of changed, like the new stars are the social media characters that, that we see online, so it's just changing, it's just a different batch. Like back when I was doing that, there was no such thing as a social media star. In 2024 now it is, so you know what I mean. So
and it's such a full circle moment, because when you were hanging out in those areas and now you're like making like cakes and like pastries and candies and providing services for some of these people, including ASAP Ferg. What was it like making a cake for his birthday during like this? I think this happened in like around October, September.
A few months ago. Yeah, it's like super dope to like kind of like like these like full circle moments with all these people that I used to see when I came to Soho to like not be doing stuff for them. It's a dope thing to be doing. You know what I mean? Like I remember like meeting Pharrell like 10 years ago somewhere on Bowery or something, and I saw him. You know what I mean? And I was all nervous to go to him. But ever since then, I think we've done like a few projects with like with Billionaire Boys Club, and we've done stuff for him maybe like 3-4 times already. So I mean, like that was kind of the mission when I came to Soho, was to like work with all these amazing people that I used to see on TV. You know what I mean? And it happened. So
and basically also literally be a tastemaker for the city.
Absolutely.
Like, what does that feel like?
I mean, like that was the plan. You know what I mean?
We're here.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what I've been working hard to do, was to to kind of like to kind of put my name out there, and it worked, and and I'm definitely blessed to be a part of that, and I'm gonna keep it going, and I'm gonna keep evolving, because like that's what it's all about. It's all it's always about evolving. I mean, like when I first started this, it was just doing cookies and cakes and things like that, and then after that, you're like, okay, now we gotta evolve. And I was like, okay, like let's start like making bricks and mortars and stuff like that. And after that, it's gonna keep evolving. So, what I mean, it's not over yet. So
absolutely.
I don't want to think about it, honestly.
Absolutely. I mean, you've mentioned, okay, so you have Saint Michelle.
Yeah.
You've done stuff with Pharrell. You've done stuff with ASAP Ferg, Beyonce. We've mentioned a lot. Okay, so what is a highlight moment that you can think of right now, separate from those moments?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, there's a few. You know what I mean? It's like doing, it's like having Saint Michelle and creating this place for like the next generation. You know what I mean? Because I'm older now, so I'm creating things for the next generation, like Saint Michelle, which is like like back when I was a kid in Queens, and I wanted to have places like this to go to, but there wasn't. I mean, like there just wasn't places like this. So so like now that I have the opportunity to create places like this for the next generation to come in here and be like, yo, like if you work hard, you can also be like this guy that looks just like you. You know what I mean? Like for example, a guy like Basquiat who's is a Haitian and half Puerto Rican. You know what I mean? Like to show like like a black kid or a Puerto Rican kid, like, yo, like if you work hard enough, you can be also, and like a great artist one day yourself. You know what I mean? Like, and like just having an opportunity to create places to do that is very special for me. So,
what did you connect so much with John Basquiat? What did you?
When?
Yeah, like what connected so deeply with you and him?
Well, so like once again, like just kind of like coming to Soho and just like learning about all these characters, it kind of it just like and just understanding how like why it's even like this. You know what I mean? Like why creatives like come to places like downtown New York just to like make a name for herself. You know what I mean? And if you go into the history of it, you kind of and you kind of see like it started with these people like Basquiat and Andy Warhol, Keith Haring, and all these type of like amazing characters that would go there and like do art and tag up walls and all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? And that kind of just resonated with me. You know what I mean? It was like kind of like these outliers that were, you know what I mean? Like they were like just doing things so differently, but they were doing it their way, and they didn't even know they were doing it. You know what I mean? And that resonated with me, and that just made me kind of just go full in on just like learning about these characters, and and I fell in love with it. You know what I mean? So.
I mean, so you're from Queens.
I'm from Queens, yeah.
You spend time in Soho. Your business now is in Brooklyn. With all of that time, can you like point out the transplants, the people who are not from here?
Right. Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, I mean, yes, I mean, gentrification is definitely a thing that is very prevalent in New York, and you know what, and it's kind of just basically it's just understanding that long as you respect where you're at, you know what I mean, and try to do your best to help the community that you're in, then I mean, I can't knock you. You know what I mean? Because look, I mean, like New York is an expensive place. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna tell you you can't move here, you can't move that, but you have to do something to help the community. Like for example, I mean, yeah, like I'm from Queens and I came to Bushwick, and they're going through their own gentrification issues. You know what I mean? And you can see it. You know what I mean? Like I remember coming here 5-6 years ago, and there was no coffee shops. There was nothing. There was no restaurants. Like like it was just bodegas and bodegas, right? But like coming here now, there's businesses coming here. There's a coffee shop on each block, so you can see it changing. And when me and Carolina came here, I mean, like we didn't even do it like, oh, we got to do something, but like we kind of fell into like a lot of the things that are happening like at this park down the block, and it was like, and then we noticed that they didn't have a dog park, for example, and it was like, well, the dogs deserve a dog park, you know what I mean? And and we've been working hard on trying to get a dog park for them, but also there's a lot of issues that come with that, you know what I mean, with like with the people that have been here before us, you know what I mean? So like, so it's kind of finding like a middle ground to like, how can we make things better for everybody? And that's what we do, like we do like cleanups every month, you know what I mean? We talk to the council lady, like we sit in on town meetings, like we try our best to help the community, you know what I mean? And not just, and not just have a business here and just like leave, you know what I mean? Cause we generally care about our community,
So I guess you would explain like that is what community looks like, people coming together and advocate for different needs of the neighborhood.
Exactly. Like just don't like move into a community and just be silent. Like just live here, then and then when you get and then when you get enough money, go move to Williamsburg. Like no, like you know what I mean? It's like no, like go outside, talk to your neighbors, like talk to the elders on the block, go to the park, do cleanups. You know what I mean? Like, just do what you can to help the community. Like, don't just try to use it for what it is, you know? So.
And so, with that, you're active in the community,
Yeah.
in Bushwick. You've been active in so many different communities in Queens and Brooklyn, as we said before. What would you say now, compared to 10 years ago, is your New York City vibe?
My New York City vibe right now. well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I have this conversation with my friends because I mean, I still love like going to Manhattan. I still love chilling out there. But at the same time, when you're in Brooklyn, it kind of sucks you in, and you never want to leave because everything's here. You know what I mean? You can chill in Bushwick. You can go down, like you can go to Fort Greene, and there's so many great restaurants there. So you kind of just get stuck in that vibe of just like I just want to be in Brooklyn. But yeah, it happens. But also I do love the energy of downtown and going back there, and when I do go there, it just it kind of like reminds me of being like like that kid, just like walking around Soho. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Do you often like stay in Brooklyn now and not go to downtown anymore? Is that what's going like presently?
Well, yes, presently. I mean, yes. I mean, it's kind of what my friends are saying, like, "Yo, man, like you getting too comfortable. You getting too comfortable out there." But at the same time, man, I mean, like it's a beautiful place. I mean, it's where I live. It's where my business is. A lot of my friends, live in Brooklyn. So I mean, yeah, you just get caught in that vibe of because everything's here. I mean, like we got Bushwick, you got, like you go downtown Brooklyn. I mean, you can go to Bed-Stuy, which is such a beautiful hub of culture. You know what I mean? I love Bed-Stuy. You know what I mean? And that's a lot to say from like a kid from Queens. You know what I mean? Because like Queens and Brooklyn have got this like little like weird relationship. But you know what I mean? Like I just love the neighborhoods like around me. So I do get caught in the Brooklyn warp a little bit, but I still love Manhattan. The Bronx. So like the Bronx is cool. I like to go see the homies out there every now and then. I move around.
Yeah.
Move around. So.
Yeah. It's I'm an uptown boy, Manhattan boy, uptown
respect.
all day, and I feel like maybe that's probably the reason why I haven't seen you as
probably.
So, bro, why do you think or believe that Brooklyn is more appealing to like young people, or because I feel like now it's becoming like the spot to be?
Yeah, I mean, one, it's cheap. It's cheaper.
Okay, because I'm about to say like Brooklyn is still pricey.
No, yeah, I mean Brooklyn's very pricey. I mean it's cheaper. We have like great cultures where we got great communities that are accepting of each other. You know what I mean. It's especially like in Bushwick, it's just such a great, amazing hub of culture out here, and everybody like loves each other. For the most part. You know what I mean. And it's very hard to find that in a lot of places. So yeah.
So I want to circle back until like to Eat Good NYC and the beginning of it. How did it come about that you two wanted to start a business together? Because you said, from what you explained, like you guys fell, you entered love together, at a nice pace that worked for you. How did it get to like, I want to do a business?
Well, I mean, so the whole Eat Good thing, I had it before Carolina, but it was like a whole different thing that I was doing. I was doing like the whole like trying to sell like shirts and hats and stuff like that. But I was also doing the cupcakes, but it wasn't as crazy like as like as it is now. But when she came in, like she was doing cupcakes, but she was just doing it just honestly for fun, for friends. And and it was just more so just like, oh, like I'm doing this Eat Good thing. Do you just want to like just help me out? It was more so I was just like, like, do you just want to help me do it? And luckily she said yeah. and yeah, it just kind of came together. It kind of it came together, especially because I was still doing party promoting, and I remember that we were doing a party, and this particular DJ at the time, her name was Aquafina. You guys may know her as...
Wow.
Yeah.
Continue being up to date with all things peace by following the links attached to this episode. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's wrap up the show.
Yeah. Like she was a DJ at the time, but you know her as a movie star now. Well, but at the time, she was DJing a party that we were promoting, and it was her birthday, I believe, and we were like, yo, like we should do something nice for her, and then we just started like me and Carolina, we just started just saying stuff like what if we just did some like cupcake with her face on it, and we were laughing about it, and then we were just like, wait, can we really do that? And then Caroline was like, like let me try, and we made it, and we gave it to Aquafina, and she loved it, and she posted it, and and everybody in the comments was like, this is crazy, this is dope. And then from there it was just like, okay, we might be onto something. So
wow.
yeah. So we kind of so that's kind of like the origin story.
So it was like organic and destined.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely wasn't planning on the food part kind of being like the main thing, but it took off, and we just kept going with it.
Wow. And since then, once again, you have all these different companies that you're running now, and so what would you say is like one of your craziest celebrity encounters while doing this work?
Wow. I mean, I don't know, man. It's been a lot. I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. It can go from like maybe like like Gigi Hadid. I mean, like that was kind of like, I think was not, like Gigi was awesome, but I think maybe the Cara Delevingne one is probably, and that was one of our first ones, because I think she was working for DKNY, and at the time I wanted to work with DKNY, so I think we made a selfie of Cara Delevingne with the DKNY hat, and we posted it, and she saw it, and she was just like, that's dope, whatever. And I was like, yo, I'm like, I want to give you one. But at the time she was in like London. And then I was just like, damn, all right, cool. But luckily she was actually going to be in New York, I think, like that week or maybe a week after that. And I got like my like day switched up or whatever. So I'm like looking at my phone, and I'm like, holy crap, she's going to be in Meatpacking, I think at Sephora today. So I panic. I get the cupcake. I get some frosting, because I didn't want to frost it while I was at the house. I was like, I'm gonna frost it while I'm at like Sephora to go and like give it to her. And I'm running out. Carolina's coming from work. She's walking in. She's like, where you going? I was like, I'm going to go give this cupcake to Cara. So I run to Meatpacking, cupcake, all that stuff in hand. I get there, and the door's locked. And the door's locked. They weren't letting more people in. So I was like, damn. So now I was like, well, I'm not gonna leave. I'm gonna stay here. So it's just me and paparazzi outside, just basically waiting for her to come out. I think it was like maybe like 2 hours we were out there. It was mad cold, because I think it was like in the fall or something. Oh, and so I'm just sitting there with like a cupcake and stuff, with paparazzi with their big ass cameras. And she comes out, and and there's people outside too, and they're just like calling her name, screaming, paparazzi snapping their cameras. And I was just like, I don't know what to do. So I just kind of just threw the cupcake up in the air like this. And and she turned around, and she was just like, what the is that? And she comes over, and she's like, can I take a picture with it? And I was just like, yeah. Right. And she's taking pictures with it, and I'm trying to take pictures of her with it, and paparazzi snapping her with the cupcake. And my pictures was kind of shitty, because my camera was broke. So I was like, damn, like like I didn't get a good picture. So then I go home, and I show Carolina my blurry pictures of Cara Delevingne with our cupcake, and and then she was just like, and then we're just like, whatever. And like the next day we wake up, and for some reason I'm just like going online checking like Vogue and all this type of stuff, and the pictures were up there, what I mean, and and then and it was like Vogue, Daily Mail, and and some other publication, and I was like, holy crap, like it actually
Vogue
got
Japan.
No, like Vogue.
Oh
yeah,
wow.
Yeah. So it got in Vogue, Daily Mail, and something else. And I was like, holy crap, like they got, so the paparazzi next to me was just basically them. You know what I mean? And I remember one of the paparazzi guys being like, that was a smart move you did. You know what I mean? And I was just like, thanks. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I woke up in the morning, I saw the pictures, and and that kind of gave us a lot of traction, because people started to like see that picture online. And that kind of also helped us to be where we're at today too.
I mean, I remember that moment, because I remember going online, and I feel like I could not escape seeing that, which I was happy. Yeah. But I remember seeing that everywhere.
Yeah.
And so, absolutely. Once again, kudos to you guys.
Thank you.
What was it like creating for Beyonce?
Oh man, I was
I'm sure it was like very top secret.
I mean, it was, it was an honor, first of all. But, it was just, it was just like, it was super dope. Like, I remember when Carolina told me when I got home, she was like, I got a surprise for you. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I think she has a video like somewhere of her telling me like, oh, we're doing cupcakes for Beyonce. And I was just like, oh shit. You know what I mean? And that was such a special moment. Obviously it's Beyonce.
Yeah.
So, and it was for her birthday. It was, I think it was like a 70s themed birthday that she was doing that year. Yeah, and it was a special moment. Just, like just making cupcakes for Beyonce. It was like a special moment. Just like, cause like, like that's Beyonce, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing else you can really say. Like when it comes to it, it's just like, yeah,
she's
it's
Beyonce.
The queen, right? It's Beyonce. You know what I mean? And and that was also like another defining moment that we were, kind of doing the right thing. You know what I mean? Once again, just doing things for people that we admire and respect. I mean.
But how did you get here? Like, how did you begin to learn how to? Because for me, I'm not a cook. I mean, if I wanted to put the energy to, sure.
Yeah.
But like, that's not like my passions. So how did you get into making cupcakes?
Cupcakes. I mean, yeah, it's kind of been a crazy journey. But my mom used to be a baker. So I would just be in the kitchen, just like watching her bake. I wasn't like planning on like watching her and like, okay, that's what I, like whatever, like, oh yeah, like I'm learning lessons here. But I was just there in the kitchen, more so just waiting for her to give me the bowl so I can like lick the batter. But like watching somebody so much, you start to kind of pick up on certain things. And so I kind of just learned how to bake, just like just watching my mom. And like fast forward into my 20s, I was like, I was just tired of the things I was doing because I was, because I graduated and I was just like, okay, well, I'm doing marketing, but it was just boring. It wasn't what I thought it was. So I was like, all right, let me start tapping into things that I actually know how to do. And one of them was baking. And and I kind of picked that back up. And and obviously it worked out.
I love that. And also too, like, okay, for one, because touching on so many things, I have questions that I want to ask. For one, I feel like that is such a delicate and soft thing for like a Black man to have interest in wanting to go in like the kitchen. Like oftentimes, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it's kind of like that's bitch work or whatever the case may be. And so like, what do you feel about that? Like being an example, like Black men can do anything.
Well, absolutely. I mean, once again, I mean, like the things that, like I was into wasn't very, the most conventional thing for a Black man to be into, which is fashion and art and all these things, you know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, so, like that's why I do want to create places like this for people, for the next generation of kids that look like me, that are into fashion and art and do want to bake, and I'm happy to kind of like, show people that, like we can do everything or anything, so. Yeah.
That we're nuanced and multidimensional.
Absolutely, yeah. We just don't have to be just doing one thing, I mean, we can do it all. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah. So.
And also, too, it's interesting because maybe I'm giving you too much credit. Maybe you can
give me the credit.
I feel like I didn't see people doing what you guys were doing. Do you recognize the influence that you guys have had where other people, which is great to like want to inspire? Did you notice how like there was a shift where people started to get into like pastry and like just like this type of work?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I mean, well deserved on the credit. I mean, but also, I mean, like me and Carolina have always been trendsetters. You know what I mean? I mean, like we've like done stuff and stopped doing things, and those things become popular, and it's just like, look at what we've done. You know what I mean? And we don't look at it like in a way like we're not getting enough credit about it because I mean, like we're just so talented that we just keep pushing and we just keep creating and making things. So that's just how our brain works. I mean, like we're not traditional bakers, you know what I'm saying? Like we didn't go to school for this. So, I mean, so I feel like our brains are just a little bit different when it comes to being in this culinary space. And, and I'm happy what we've done. I mean, I've seen our mark on the culture and I'm happy about it, I mean, like that's what I wanted to do when I started it. So yeah.
Wow. I mean, so like since then and now,
Mm-hmm.
because I keep revisiting the past because like I met you when you guys were starting. Because like you actually made a cupcake for one of my closest friends, and like I remember being like, oh my god, that's so cool. So do you see how like the city is different through the landscape of your business? How would you describe like for someone who's not from here, who's going to be listening, like how would you describe the landscape of New York City now? I feel like right now there's like a crazy housing crisis.
Right.
I feel like there's homelessness through the roof. People are doing drugs. Like is this all is to New York? Like what is New York right now?
Well, I mean, those things have always been prevalent in New York. I mean, right?
Yeah.
70s, 80s, 90s. That's all. I mean. So like I love to collect like magazines and stuff. I remember watching a Time magazine that was literally talking about gentrification in Williamsburg in like the 80s, right? And and homelessness and drugs and all that. I mean, look, the thing about New York is we're survivors, and I mean, like we're built to survive. So I mean, like this is just yes, like things change a little bit, but it all stays the same. You know what I mean? It's just like this is a place. I mean, look, you're gonna come to New York and you're going to struggle. I mean, but like if you're here to struggle, it's a reason why you're here. You know what I mean? So just remember why you came here, and just stick to it. You know what I mean? Like things are expensive, and I mean it might be considered dangerous, and all types of stuff like that. But it's a reason why you're here. I mean, like whatever you're trying to do is bigger than everything else that is presently in front of you. Just just keep your goals in mind. So that's what I say.
I got 2 more questions, and then I won't take any more of your time. I'm grateful to be sitting here with you, Mr. Benny Emeri.
Thank you.
Which, I'm glad to. So, anyways, I wanted to know what does expansion look like? I know you guys have so much in plan. I feel like you guys aim towards something and then achieve it.
Right.
So, what is the next thing that you want to work towards?
I mean, honestly, I'm just having fun. I'm just having fun creating things. I mean, like like 2 weeks ago, we weren't thinking about making chocolate chip cookies for our store, and 2 weeks later, we are making chocolate chip cookies, and people are loving it and they're buying it, and that's what makes me happy. You know what I mean? I just like creating things, and I just like people like actually genuinely enjoying them. You know what I mean? So I mean, like expansion is always just me just creating. You know what I mean? Just creating, and I mean, creating more cafes for for like-minded people to enjoy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm getting older now, so I kind of feel like it's my duty to kind of like help people and also teach. So and I'm having fun doing that.
Well, I guess this is going to conclude with the question that I have is, how are you producing peace?
I'm producing peace by just making everything around me just a little bit better through my creations and through my energy. So
cool. Well, can you let the people know where to find you, to find your businesses, like how, like where should they go?
You can come to St. Michelle. I'm here every now and then. I'm here. You see me wandering Brooklyn with my dog. I'm probably at a dog park somewhere. Yeah. Or just see me on social media, Eget NYC, St. Michelle. And that's it.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. It's an honor to have you here. And thank you.
Peace out.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was great.